Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in the last episode we got the sound deadening put inside the interior, so it's all sounding quite good now. So I've done the roof and the bottoms, also got the sound barrier mat on top and then the deaden pro underneath. But in this episode we're going to start moving on to the wiring loom. So I've got the engine loom down here. I sent this off to get modified, so it's the Mark IV platform on one side, so the ECU goes here, and then they've adapted it to the Mark I fuse box. So the plan is today to get them put in the car. Also at the same time I want to get the secondary engine loom in. This is for the headlights and other horns, stuff like that. So the plan is to get it sort of wired over the arch here, and then coming out on the fuse box side over here. The reason I'm doing this is just so I can have the engine bay a little bit cleaner than it is at the moment. So what I'm going to do is drill a couple holes over here, so I can sort of route the harness up and over and then through there. So this side is for the battery cables, this side is for the headlight loom. So the headlight loom will come out in that gap over there and then run through the middle all the way and then to the other headlight there. So yeah, also for the engine loom I'm planning on drilling a hole somewhere in this location here, and then it will come out in the middle and then run across to the hole over here. I have still got the original holes for the old engine loom, but I'm just going to put a sort of like a blanking plate grommet on top of it. I should have filled them in, but sort of didn't think of that before. But yeah, let me get on with drilling the holes. So now the holes have been drilled for the wiring looms to go through. What I'm going to do now is quickly file them down. So file the holes down so there's no sharp edges on there, and also give it a quick coat of primer and some paint just to stop it from rusting in the future. Then I can go ahead and throw the looms in and see how it all fits. So I've got the engine loom going through, all of the plugs are here now, and I've connected up everywhere on the engine. So most of the plugs are connected up. There are some that are disconnected at the moment. They all fit and everything fits nice. I just want to tell you guys, I've done some work off camera and I just want to give you guys a quick update of what I've done. So I put the battery back in and it didn't look as good as I thought it would. So it looked a bit crowded in the engine bay. So what I decided to do was remove the battery tray. I also removed the mount over here that holds the coolant reservoir, and I removed the mount over here that holds the windscreen washer bottle. So what I done, I decided to move the battery at the back over here. So I bought some BMW cable. I think this is from an E46, and I routed it through some conduit. This is the engine loom. Sorry, this is the headlight loom. So you've got the alternator wire, the headlights, the indicators, and a ground, and a couple other wires here. So it goes through some conduit and then into this fitting over here, which is watertight. So when you tighten this down, it will allow no water to get through. And then what I done, I notched a little bit out of the skin. So there's two skins over here. So I just notched out of the first skin, so I'll be able to fit the nut in flush against it. I tried it the other way, but it's sort of, this conduit sticks out a lot. But yeah, that worked a treat. I also seam sealed around the inside, and I might put some seam sealer around here again, some clear one, just to be sure that it's not going to leak. I then bolted using some P-clips along the front over here, and then down into the hole that I drilled at the bottom. Then going across, I've got the headlight loom coming out this side over here, and then going down on this side here, the BMW cable comes out here straight to the starter motor. And then I've got the horn wires coming through here at the moment. I'm not too sure where I'm going to mount the horn at the moment, so I was thinking I could mount it, I think this is the original place, somewhere over here. So if I wanted to, I could just pull back them wires, go back here and just find a hole. There's a hole here, just to connect to the horn. Then moving along, I've got the alternator wire coming out, plugged in over here. And then moving along, I drilled one hole down here and got a smaller conduit going through, and the headlight wires are coming out here. So I had to take the plugs off most of them, but I've marked them for where they go back. So it was a nightmare getting them wires through, that's why I didn't record it. But if you have any questions, just give me a message and I'll tell you exactly what I've done. But again, on this side, the conduit runs all the way through, and then goes just over here. So I don't think it should let any water in. I might put some tape around here just so water can't drip down, but it will just sort of sit in this area here. I'm sure it should be fine, it should be all watertight. Also, these are really strong on there. I did weld some sort of studs all the way along so these stay on tight. You can zip tie it up here, but I sort of thought that this will be better for the long run as it's super strong. But yeah, the next step that I'm going to do now is getting the interior loom put in. I've done a little bit of labeling on all of the plugs just to make sure I know where they all go. So these are for the fog lights here. And what I've done, I've tested every sort of connection back all the way back to the end over here. And I've checked them all for continuity just to check if there's any breaks in the wire, and they all seem okay. I've labelled up this side as well, just to make sure I know what they're for in the future, and also where they go on the actual fuse box. And I've done a couple modifications on the loom itself. So what I've done, I've put this plug in and it runs all the way down to the end over here, and it goes to this plug over here. And if anybody wants to know, the part number is 191971993, and I'll put that in the description if anybody needs to know the part number for that plug. What this plug is for, it's going to be for the brake switch. So it goes in like this, and then what will happen is when you press the brake, the switch will go off, and then the brake lights will go on, and then when you release the brake, it will be pushed in, and the brake lights will be off. So I thought having the plug will be good. I had a spare loom and it was on there. I'm not sure if this plug came on the Cabriolet Mark 1. I think that's where the spare loom is from, but I thought it'd be better to take that off the loom instead of having spade connectors on there. It sort of gives it a bit of security so it can't be pulled out because of these clips on the side. So other modifications I've done to the loom, so I've added a radio wire. So this has the power, it has illumination, it also has ignition and ground. For some reason I can't get the pins out to change it to add the ground wire in, so I'll have to order a new one of these. I think they're called ISO plugs. So I'll cut that off and add and pin the new plug in. I'm not sure, I think these pins are quite a nightmare to get out, so I'll have to do that another day. And it's not really a big job or a headache to do while it's in the car. So what I'm going to do next is wrap it in some loom tape, and the loom tape that I've decided to choose is Tessa. So I've been recommended this by someone, they said it's quite good quality. So yeah, let me get on with wrapping the whole loom in loom tape. So I've got the interior loom now put in, so I've just roughly put it in place because I need some more of these zip ties with the clips on it that go sort of like this inside of the hole and hold it up. So I need to do it on that side. So yeah, I'm just going to order them, but I've got it roughly in place at the moment into the fuse box, so I can sort of move on from this step until I get the zip ties to hold the loom up. So the next thing I'm going to move on to is getting power to the fuse box. So before, there was this red wire that would go into the back of the fuse box over here, and the other side would run all the way through, that will go to the battery. So because I've moved it, that has to plug in somewhere over here, and then because I'm going to run the battery at the back, the wire has to come down here and then somehow get to the back. Also have to sort this red wire out here. So this is the main power that goes to the starter motor. So I'm not too sure yet if I'm going to route it on this side or over here. So yeah, that's the two things I'm going to sort out now. But the first one that I'm going to do is the main power for the fuse box. So I've got the power wires for the battery all routed. So I just went underneath here and across. So originally on the headlight loom, it had a positive and negative wire on there. So the negative went to this block over here, and then the positive used this connector and went to the P section at the back. So what I'm going to do now is put one of these connections on the power wire, and on the negative the same thing, which will go on here and on this side over here. So the positive and negative wire, just two ring terminals that will go onto the battery when I do decide what battery to get. Also, I need to order a terminal for this. It's quite a large cable, so I need to figure out what size that is, get that ordered. But what I've got to crimp the wires on is I've ordered this off Amazon. I think it was about £35. It comes with all of the different sizes to put the terminal rings in. So what you do, you put that in over here and it clamps it down and squashes the wire in. But I'll show how that's done on these wires over here. So I've got the interior loom in now. So these are for the radio and the fans, and that's all of the ignition and the switches on that side. And I've got the fuse box all in. So this is how it's looking behind. It still needs cleaning up a little bit. This is for the brake switch, so I'm probably going to shorten this wire down just to remove the access on it, just so it's all clean back here. And also I've run the battery cable for the starter motor all the way down here. Then it goes into a circuit breaker, so you can press this here and the circuit breaks. So it's 200 amp, which I think should be enough for the starter motor. And then once it goes from there, I've just put it into one of these at the moment. I think this came with the BMW cable, just so I can test it out. I'm probably going to clean all this up later on, and then I've put the ground here, going to the side over here. Again, this is all just for test purposes. So I put a battery on it and I'm getting 12 volts at the fuse box, which is a good sign. So I think I'm going to cut that episode there. I think that's enough for you guys to get the idea of what's going on with the electrics. If I have any big updates, I'll be sure to let you guys know. But yeah, if you guys like this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to share this video to all of your friends, and follow me on Instagram for updates that you won't see on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, guys.